Alright, so the video cut out prematurely because I ran out of space. So I deleted some stuff. I didn't need any more, so this should run a lot more smoothly. Um, so it is intimidating for me because as a loner, I did have some people backing me, but not to the extent I'll need to be governor. The people I had, now I ran groups, I did do some stuff, I was an active leader and a variety of different things, but it was mostly small groups, right? So this one is going to be a little bit more difficult, and that's why I'm going about it this way, because it's easier for me to explain in these videos who I am and what my ideas are than it would be to be on the streets, especially in my condition. So, um, I think it would be important for young women to be asked the same questions young boys get asked. Like, what kind of person do you want to become? What kind of things do you want to accomplish in your life? Things like that. And um, I was listening to a guy talk on a video, and it got me thinking. So, for perspective, there are no daughters, no sisters in my household. We are all boys. And so, my idea of a girlfriend or a wife was different with what I wanted and how I would raise my own daughter if I got one, right? So, the guy talked about how a good father gave this woman an unrealistic expectation of her husband, which I didn't even consider, right? Um, Many people probably heard the saying, find a man like your father, find a woman like your mother, right? And that studies have shown that boys will treat their wives the way they treat their mothers, and um, women will treat their husbands like they treat their fathers, right? Respect wise, and so on and so forth. Well, um, my parents were good parents. I had an awesome dad and an awesome mom. Did they make mistakes growing up, being parents? Yes. However, when you get to being an adult and you understand how difficult it is to raise children, you understand how new parents have to make those kind of mistakes or are met with different challenges that they weren't um, prepared for. And so, lack of judgment, whatever, people are people, they make mistakes. You can get up and move on. But point is, I didn't think about how a good father could set a standard so high for a daughter that her husband couldn't meet it because he's not her father. And he was explaining that, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. So in some cases, you can do too good of a job, especially if you don't showcase the differences here of this is how your husband should treat you, this is how I treat you. So it really helped me figure that out more. Um, I would say that the overall issue is the word empowerment. You have power. Women have power. All right. There is no empowerment. That's the lie. That's the misleading part. Women, if you want power, take it. It's yours. It's given to you, especially if you're a Christian, it's given to you by right. All right. But I want you to understand something. Christian women need to respect the Bible and what it teaches. And what it teaches is in a marriage, you are to submit to your husband the way that your husband submits to God. There is a chain of command there. It doesn't mean you're lesser. You're building a partnership. You're building something with that person. And the two of you should respect each other. It's very clear. The husband treats the wife the way Jesus treats the church. It goes both ways. There are many things about the Bible people are not going to understand unless they read it and they understand word for word what it meant. And you have to understand the culture back then, the way things were ran back then, the morals and values of back then. A lot of people today say, well, I don't want to really care about tradition. I'll throw tradition out the window. I care about what I want to do now. You have that right. And everybody around you has the right to ignore you. Just so you're aware. There are consequences for your actions. In some cases, when you think you're right, you could lose a lot more than you gain. Especially if you choose a selfish route instead of one that's more, well, beneficial to everybody around you. So, in these videos, I want to talk about being governor a lot more than I have before, because I think it's important that people understand my stances on things and where I come from. So, I don't hate women. I'm not going to get along with a lot of different women, especially leftist women, okay? Just putting it out there. I accept the fact that I'm not going to be liked by them. I accept the fact that doing this, I will be targeted. I'm already targeted. It's just that I'll be targeted on different levels that I'm not familiar with yet. And so I thought about it. You know, what would I do if I was being attacked for being, you know, a racist or other slurs that they claim that the right is, but they themselves actually are? Well, here's the thing. I'm very tough. Okay, just always have been. But I have a heart. And I think back to how Donald Trump handled it when they were attacking one of his employees, one of the people working for him, or working with him, something like that. And I thought about what he said. You can't let it show that it bothers you. These are mean, nasty, and cruel people. You know what's true. I know what's true. Let them think what they want. And then I would think, and I thought about it. I'm like, okay, well, let's see. Jesus was persecuted. Jesus was called a lot of stuff. And I thought, how would he want me to handle it? Putting myself in this position, knowing full well what comes with this territory. And I gotta say, it's something I'm not comfortable with. Because my first initial response would not be in anger, would not be to lash out. It would be simply, okay, well, you said what you said. Here's the consequence of what you said. So, I could easily, and I mean easily, choose to sue for defamation of character every single time, because it's not true. See, they can only say things that are true. Otherwise, they can get sued for it. Especially if they're attacking a specific person. Now, sure, I could sue them, and I damn well might. But at the same time, it would depend on the severity. It really would. I can deal with it, you know. I'm not getting hurt or anything by these little lies. But if it's a big lie, and I mean a doozy, then yes, I'll sue. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because it ain't true, and it never will be true. I had a very high moral standing growing up, and I intend to keep it. My brothers will tell you um, that I'm not very fun in their opinion because I don't break the rules the way they do. I don't do things the way they want the things done. I do things my way. I do things that are more efficient. I do things the way I believe God and my parents and my grandparents would be proud. So I think about that first. Am I perfect? Do I make mistakes? Yes, sure. I'm human. Yeah. But in that kind of environment, I can't afford to make a slip up. I can't afford to give them any ammunition. And I already don't trust people, so that's not going to be a problem. Um, so, yeah, being governor is going to be a very difficult job for me. But it's going to be easier than most jobs I've had because I have years to prepare for it. I have time to get to know it, and I'm discovering things new every day. It just really gets to me, man. I mean, to know that this state is such a beautiful state, and it's being treated this way. Sure, I thought about leaving. I've mentioned that before, but that doesn't solve the problem. The problem is no one's standing up to these people. And as much as I hate to admit it, as great as those countries are that people leave America for, and they can prosper over there, they can get married, they have a wonderful life, not America. In America, you have freedom. Now, yes, it's on the verge of being taken away, and that's what we gotta fight for it. These people who are in office, these politicians, are not Americans. They're not true Americans. They're not patriots. They're tyrants. And the American people need to show them that we have more rights than they do, and they can't take them from us. Now, I'm not saying to get violent. I'm not saying take you to the streets. What I'm saying is this. Stop voting for NPCs. Stop voting for people that don't have the same morals and values that you do. Stop voting for people. They're going to damage this country further. Start voting for people who want the position and want to fix it and want to build a state that your children will feel safe in. That's what I'm saying. When you look at it from the perspective I do, you understand something very important. We are not going to live forever. Our kids, our children, are going to grow up in a world that we either help build or we help destroy. I used to believe politics wasn't for me. These decision stuff was not for me. I will vote, sure, but I'm not the one that's going to make things happen. And then Charlie started having conversations. And I would watch. And I'd listen. And Charlie made a very valid point. Our very lives function because of politics. Without us educating ourselves on politics and understanding how things are ran, we are doomed to be part of the problem, or at least be a mindless zombie voting for people that tell us to vote for them. Charlie encouraged people to question motives, question people. Are these the people you want in office? If not, why did you vote for them? We heard firsthand from the Biden voters why they voted for him. That's not why you vote. He's not Trump. That's not why you vote. People are abusing their rights in America. They are. What's going to be done about that? Don't know yet. But it does beg the question, what happens to people who abuse their rights? And that's worth asking. We know that if criminals abuse their rights, they lose them. Well, politicians are criminals now. We've seen it. We know it. What happens to them? Something needs to happen to them. And I agree. The Patriot guy was talking. He does his own channel, and I love his work. He was talking. He goes, it's not about our timing. These are politicians. These are people in power. It's on their timetable, not ours. And he compared it to God. Are you going to be the one telling God it's not fast enough? It's a fair point. So, because I was on that train too. I'm like, I want arrests. Why is no one getting arrested? We don't know. But he's right. You can't rush progress like that. And in some cases, it may need to be dealt with very delicately because of technicalities, loopholes, and things like that. You know how the law works. So, we'll have to just trust them to do the right thing. In the meantime, though, elections are still happening, and we need to get the right people in there. Now, to be clear, I'm going to be running for office of government in Oregon's governor, in 2030. That's the year I want to run. So, I need to build up a lot of momentum now, which is what I'm trying to do, and get as many people as I can to ask questions, tell me their stories, so I can better understand how I can help. A lot of people don't have sincere intentions. They view it as a way to get up to higher seats, like, say, Congress or Senate. This is not a stepping stone for me. This is all I want. I'm taking the governor's spot, because I'm tired of people failing. Tired of watching people not handle the responsibility correctly and not handle the job correctly. There's a lot more power that could be used, and they're not using it. I've done my research on it. I intend to use it all for the benefit of Oregon and our families. A lot of people are going to make promises they can't keep. I intend to do all the research I can and see what I can and can't promise before I make those promises. As governor, you're going to see a lot more fairness in Oregon. A lot more. I'm going to bring freedom back to Oregon. That means I gotta weigh the pros and cons of some of my laws I want to implement. There is no such thing as a perfect system. You'll have flaws in everything you do. There'll be holes in all your plans. There'll be issues with things. But what I gotta do is make sure that it is as foolproof as possible. And then let the chips fall where they may. But I'll tell you something. I've got plans that have not been tried out yet. May not even be thought of or heard of yet. But we'll see. Again, I want to thank you all for your support, your love, and taking the time out of your day to listen or watch these videos. It means a lot to me. We need to bring back common sense. We need to bring back things that will always make sense to people. Bring back insane asylums. And we need to show that not all of us are crazy. It's just the left. Now, I know there's some radicals on our right side, and I will tell you this. As long as they're not violent, that's okay. The moment they start causing problems, I'll have to step in if they're in Oregon. First and foremost, though, I want to be safe, and protesting ICE tends not to be so safe, so I think that needs to be shut down. Just my opinion. You're free to ask questions, you're free to pick my brain on things, and who knows, maybe I'll get what I want and be able to work with the people of Oregon and find out what they need and how I can help them in their communities. That's what would make me happy. So, we got 4 years, roughly. Let's do the best we can to get the right people in office. I'll have more content coming pretty soon here.